back with another video lecture of our subject, the history of USA. Here we will do in-depth study of the history of USA. In this lecture, we will study the regime of first American President, George Washington. After the final draft of Constitution was formulated, the country was now ready to have its first government, and the head of state, that is the President. For appointing the President of US, there was unanimous decision in favor of George Washington. Let's see the background of Washington. He was born on February 22, 1732 in Virginia. His father was a prominent landholder and businessman. Washington had the repute of a very seasoned and good soldier. He actively participated in the American War of Independence. He led the Continental Army in this war. Washington remained American president for 2 successive terms. Now, we will study major national policies during Washington's regime. The Judiciary Act was passed in 1789. It provided that the Supreme Court should consist of 1 Chief Justice and 5 associate judges. Each state was termed as a district according to this act. There was rise of political parties during Washington's regime. There were basically 2 political parties, Federalists and Democratic Republicans. This regime allowed other parties to exist in the United States. The whiskey tax was imposed on a domestic product by the federal government. It appeared unjustified to the farmers of Pennsylvania, who could not export surplus food grains, and resorted to the distillation of whiskey from the good grains. The rebellion was a tax protest against this. In 1794, some farmers attacked federal officials. The administration of Washington sent a force of 13,000 militia to put down a feared revolt. The Treaty of Grenville was made to settle their differences with the Indians. Through this, the Ohio Valley came under the American land. Now, we will discuss some financial policies of George Washington. He focused on revenue generation. He believed that national debt could only be reduced by revenue generation. He imposed taxes, but it was criticized by the citizens. However, he was able to make people understand his vision, and was successful in generation of revenue. Policy of protective tariff was presented by Alexander Hamilton, the Secretary of Treasury under Washington's administration. It included protective duties on manufacture, and exemption of raw materials from custom duties. Payment of national debt was a serious issue. There was $54 million of national debt on America. Washington followed the proposal of Hamilton, and the national debt was restored successfully. Now, there was issue of payment of state debt. Again, Hamilton insisted that the federal government should pay the debt on the state governments. National Bank was established in 1791. It was also an idea of Hamilton. This bank provided a uniform paper currency throughout the country. So now, we will study the foreign policy during Washington's regime. America's relations with France improved as a treaty was signed by which they promised the most favored nation treatment to each other. Both countries also agreed to help each other in case of war against England. In 1793, the French Republic sent its minister to the United States to secure help as per the treaty signed before. The mission, known as Geneva Mission, wanted to recruit privateers from America to attack the British commerce. Jeannette approached President Washington to declare war on England. However, Washington assured Jeannette of friendly American feelings and nothing more. This attitude was bitterly criticized by the Republican newspaper in America. Now, war had initiated between France and England. Washington had to go through foreign and domestic pressure to take sides. This issue was referred to the cabinet, and the majority of cabinet favored neutrality. Hence, Washington issued a proclamation of neutrality on April 22, 1793. During this war, British started capturing American ships carrying French goods. They were interfering in America's domestic matters. So, Washington sent John Jay to England for settlement of these issues. In November 1794, a treaty was signed, by which both countries conceded certain concessions to each other. To conclude this lecture, it may be said that the U.S. history can never forget the name of George Washington. He was the one who took steps to reconstruct the American land on productive grounds. So, here is the end of this lecture. In the next lecture, we will study the events of the XYZ affair. So, thanks for watching it. If you like our video lectures, then do like and share it with others. Also, subscribe our channel, and click the bell icon for more video lectures.